Hey Ravers, Megan Cruz and I collaborated on a festival outfit tutorial video for you guys, so come hang out with us.
Let's turn these colorful dresses into a fun festival fit. I'm starting by cutting out a front and a back section for the bottoms. I'm also cutting out a lining for the bottoms from these bright coral leggings I thrifted. With my fabric and lining layers pinned right sides together, I'm going to sew closed the waist and the leg holes, adding elastic to those areas. I'm turning the back section right side out and putting it inside the front section. I'm going to sew closed all 4 layers of fabric at the sides and the crotch, leaving a small hole at the crotch. Then I pulled the whole suit right side out through that hole and closed up the hole. I'm also cutting some straps out of the coral fabric to make leg wraps, which I'll sew onto the bottoms where I have them pinned. Okay, onto the top. I'm cutting out 4 triangles from the coral fabric, 2 for each cup. With my fabric and lining pinned right sides together, I'm going to sew closed the sides of the triangles, adding elastic. I'm leaving open the bottoms and a small hole at the top. I cut some of the sheer fabric off the mint dress, and I'm going to add it to the bikini by tucking it inside the cups, lining up the edges, and sewing everything closed. I'm feeding straps through to the top of the bikini cup and sewing them on. Then I pulled the cups right side out using those straps. Next, I'm cutting the mint fabric into strips to add a cute little fringe detail. Here's what the bikini is looking like. Lastly, I'm just going to sew a straight stitch all along the bottom to make a channel to feed a strap through. Okay, last thing to do is make a shrug. After I cut out all my pattern pieces, I sewed the front and the back together at the shoulder seams. Then I attached the sleeves by sewing them onto the shoulder seams right sides together. I cut out 2 big sections of the mint fabric, 1 for each sleeve. I rolled them up to be able to tuck them into the sleeves. Then I lined up the edges of the fabrics, and I'm going to sew all 3 layers together along the underarm seam. Then I just turned the shrug right side out and cut the fabric into strips to make it look like fringe. Lastly, I hemmed all along the neckline and the bottom of the shrug, and that was it. And here's the final outfit. I'm loving all the bright colors, the fringe, and the dramatic sleeves. And now I'll pass it off to Alyssa to show her adorable outfit.
Thanks for the handoff, Megan. I'm starting out by picking out an existing pattern from my pattern book. Then I'll lay the side and back pieces on my fabric and cut it out. Now I'm laying my front panel on an alternative piece of fabric and cutting that out as well. I'm pinning my side pieces and my front panel together, and then I'll sew those together with a straight stitch. Now I'm pinning my back panel to the sides, and I'm going to sew that together with a straight stitch as well. Now I'm cutting a panel for the midriff to add length to the top. I'm clipping my midriff panel to the bottom of the shirt. Now I'm serging the midriff panel to the bottom of the shirt seam. I folded the top hem of the shirt down, clipped it, and then I sewed it with a straight stitch. I cut some straps out of my blue fabric, folded the straps, and then clipped and sewed those straps with a straight stitch. Now I'm using a loop turner to turn the straps right side out. I repeated this process again for the second strap, folded it in half, sewed it with a straight stitch, and then used a loop turner to turn it right side out again. I pinned my straps to the top of my shirt, and then I used a straight stitch to sew those on. Next, you'll see me cut a square of organza, and then I cut that square into a spiral in order to create ruffles. I serged the edge of the organza to give it a more professional and clean and finished look. And then I sewed ribbon onto the edge of the organza on both sides. I clipped my ruffles to my straps and sewed those on with a straight stitch. Then I tacked the strap onto the back of the shirt. I'm going to install a zipper in the back of the shirt, so I measured my top, unzipped my zipper, and cut my zipper to length. I trimmed 2 plastic zips off of the excess and clipped them onto my zipper. I melted the 2 plastic zips with a lighter to create a zipper stop, and I'm just going to repeat that on the opposite side. I'm cutting down the middle of my top. I'm going to clip my zipper on, and then I'm going to serge the edges together. And this is our finished festival shirt. Next, I'm serging even more ruffles to put on the skirt. I cut a 28-inch by 6-inch waistband for the skirt, clipped elastic on the inside, and then I serged the edges. I made the waistband into a circle, stuffed one side inside of the other, and I sewed with a straight stitch to connect it. I cut a 17-inch square with a 4.5-inch radius. I clipped my waistband to my skirt, serged it together, hemmed the bottom, and then I added a contrasting hem. I did this by clipping my alternative piece of fabric to the top of my skirt fabric, and then I just sewed that with a straight stitch. Then I added ribbon on top of that hem. I started draping and pinning where I wanted my ruffles to sit on my skirt. And I trimmed off the excess on the bottom. Then I sewed my ruffles onto my skirt with a straight stitch. I traced my hand for some fingerless gloves to go inside of my bell sleeves. I cut out the pattern, clipped the fabric together, and then I serged the edges of the fabric. Next, I'm cutting out some trapezoids to make some bell sleeves. I folded my trapezoids in half and serged the edges. Here I'm adding my armbands onto my sleeves, clipping all of those layers together, and then I'm going to serge the edges. I'm adding some little finger loops to my gloves, and then my sleeves are done. And here is the finished festival outfit. What do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts in the comments.
I'm in love. I'm obsessed.
And make sure you check out Megan Cruz. She makes some amazing festival outfits.